Welcome to In Business. I'm your host, David Wojcik. This is our first show of Season 3, and we have another great lineup of features, panel discussions, and some of the most interesting entrepreneurial stories from the region of Peel. I am truly amazed at the amount of talent that we have in this region. Sometimes we forget about the world-class companies and creative business people we have living and working right next door to us. Fortunately, our In Business crew is on the lookout for these great business minds every day. This week, we take a look at the Politicians Appreciation Reception hosted by the Mississauga Board of Trade at the Glen Erin Inn in Mississauga. Heidi Brown from the Mississauga Business Enterprise Center is here with some expert business advice. We speak with Laura Artabello from Mailennium of Brampton and find out how she got started. We preview the upcoming Business Law Summit presented by Pallet Vallo, and our panel guests are from the 4 leading business organizations in Brampton and Mississauga. The In Business team searches every week for entrepreneurs who have a great story to tell. This week we found a soft-spoken, hard-driving entrepreneur who also supports a very unusual pastime. Stay with us. We'll be back in 1 minute and 30 seconds with Laura Artabello of Mailennium. We find out how she got started right here on In Business. Laura Artabello is a wife, mother, and businesswoman in a very unique, mostly male-dominated industry. She has many interests and keen insights into running a business and mentoring a staff. Her employees have found her rather than through recruitment. What's her secret to attracting and retaining wonderful talent?
You have to share in everything, the glory, the good, the bad. And I think that's where the loyalty has stemmed from. I would say I bring out the best in people, especially in a work environment. I'm very proud of our matrix labor force system, bringing out people's best, getting them to work together, remain professional and open and honest with each other, to be proud of the reputable service firm that we've developed.
Laura has been fortunate with recruiting talent for her business. It's never been one of her challenges.
The lowest point would be a few years ago, I moved into a facility with other business industry associations. And in theory, the business was very impressive, the business plan. So I committed to some investment in working with these other companies. Unfortunately, the companies started to dissolve, and I had to do a quick risk assessment. And we knew we would have to move the business. Therefore, it was a huge undertaking of financial burden. Again, my employees and my family helped me move quickly, and we, of course, had to work very hard to recoup those losses. So that was a low part of the business. And, we've certainly recovered, but it was probably the biggest challenge I faced.
Although finding good people has never been a challenge, there have been some low points.
Well, I have a lot of mouths to feed, which is a big responsibility. I love expensive shoes. And I love to learn. I love to meet new people. It is an ongoing premise of mine to learn something new every day.
And although there are challenges, as with most entrepreneurs, they keep driving forward.
I started with a very small area, which I lovingly refer to as the dump. My husband and friends helped me clean it, paint it, install lights, chase the mice away. It was a very small little operation here in Mississauga. And then I moved into a larger facility in Brampton. So it was certainly small in the beginning. 12-hour days, and certainly no holidays. It's a huge commitment. It's an undertaking. The responsibility is for everyone and everything you do within your organization. So you take on a different lifestyle and you change. You have to adapt very quickly. You probably underestimate a lot of that, and you just have to adapt to it as quickly as possible. But it's a lot of work, it's a big commitment, and you have to remain focused on your mission.
Some entrepreneurs come from wealthy families, and some from very poor. Others come from the normal middle class.
I have one brother, one sister, so I'm a middle child. My family life was pretty basic, general, middle class family. Father worked, mother stayed at home, and I went right into business out of high school. I worked for the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. There were no acronyms back then. And always enjoyed learning but loved the business. Always loved the business side of learning, and felt that that's where I would be more hands-on.
She also remembers the big influence in her life as a young girl.
My Aunt Betty. She was a businesswoman, and she traveled to Montreal each week by plane, which I thought was fascinating. The most exciting thing I'd ever known anyone to do. I was a young girl. And I learned later on that she worked for Bell Canada. She was in finance. And that was very unique 30 years ago. And she was always able to buy dresses and shoes and go to fancy parties. And I associated that with being a businesswoman. So I would say she influenced me into getting into business.
And now Laura has another influence in her life.
My daughter. She remains a very solid force in my life. She's pragmatic, and she's supported in every way. Certainly my husband has too, but my daughter keeps me focused, keeps me grounded in all levels of my life.
Laura is very comfortable with her business and her life. Is there anything she would change?
In life? I really don't see much, David. I'm having fun, and I think that's really important to have fun.
After the break, it's not all work and no play for this entrepreneur. There's more to come on In Business and How'd You Get Started with Laura Artebello and Mailennium. Laura Artebello does work hard, and for fun, she supports a very unusual sport for a wonderful cause.
For fun, I do, for myself personally, I'm involved with the Canadian Emergency Services Boxing Association, which has stemmed from the Peel Regional Police officers that my daughter and her colleagues began. And that's a lot of fun for me. We put on charity events. We raise funds for generally the military families. Or fallen officers, as we did earlier this year. It's a lot of fun, it's a lot of work, it brings out a lot of camaraderie and common ground amongst people. And then I sneak away to a country home on weekends and garden. That's a lot of fun too. Work, but fun.
Families of entrepreneurs make big sacrifices, and Laura's family is no exception.
Well, my husband was very supportive. He is in industrial real estate. At the time, my daughter was 18, and she was going into college. She's since become a Peel Regional Police officer. So she was supportive when it comes down to house and looking after things at home. They really had to step up, realize that I wasn't going to be home at 5 o'clock or 6 or 7. And if I was pulling out my hair perhaps on thinking about what had to be done the next day and approaching clients and so forth. So it is a commitment for the whole family. It has to be a buy-in.
Why do entrepreneurs do it? Why would Laura want to put everything on the line?
I felt I could take a personal approach to it. And as I mentioned earlier, take it right through, expand on it, and learn more about the business. I felt that I was limited in the capacity of the business I was in, and I wanted to grow the entire industry. So I felt that that was something I could bring different to the table. We have a reputable firm. We've built on the skill set of bringing a matrix force system into the business, and we bring everything under one roof. It's really a turnkey operation. So we offer right from mailing out to retrieving information. And that is completely full service. Generally, the companies do the front end or the back end. We are full cycle operation.
We asked Laura what it means to be a woman in business and how it's different from men. Sometimes the difference is as simple as asking for directions and help.
I'm a woman in business, and I'm proud of that. I think you can, as a woman, you can certainly bring other aspects to the business with respect to being the detailed person, being someone who would explore a lot of areas. Certainly, often men don't want to get into every area. Business women, and often the ones that I meet, aren't afraid just to go in and say, I don't understand how that works. I don't get it, but I'd like you to tell me. And I think we challenge ourselves in every regard.
We wondered, has gender helped or hindered her success?
I think it's helped me. I think I've always felt that I have take the honest and open approach. If I don't know, I'm not afraid to ask, and I'm certainly not afraid to show my weaknesses. I believe in buying your weaknesses and recognizing your strengths. So I think just by going forward, wanting to learn, wanting to be genuinely interested in the business or the industry or the work environment I was in has helped me. I don't think being a woman in the businesses or the people I've met have been negative to me in any sense. I think, for one thing, women seem to be very detailed. I'm very detail-oriented, and I think that helps.
Laura has no regrets in life. However, she did have a few areas in business that she may like to do over.
I would think that would be spending money where you don't need to spend it, not being focused in that sort of area. And it's very important because money is critical to the business. Your financial success is based on how well you run your business. So I've made some errors in judgment and had to work very diligently to correct those.
Laura left us with this piece of advice she learned from a mentor of hers.
I will share a mantra that I have lived by. A fellow that I met when I was developing this business told me to always remember business is business, it's not personal. And that's very important. I've lived by that.